Hello everyone, in this video we are going to talk about postpartum hemorrhage. Postpartum hemorrhage has very vague kind of definitions till now. What is the primary definition is when there is a blood loss of more than 500 ml in case of vaginal delivery and 1000 ml following a cesarean delivery. We call it as a PPH, but that definition is not very specific. For example, in severe anemic patient, even 200 ml of blood loss can be told as a PPH. So another definition is also coexist, that is decrease in hematocrit more than 10%. That is also a definition of PPH. Now, what are the types of PPH? The type of PPH depend on the timing of the PPH. For example, if the PPH is within 24 hours of the delivery, it is called primary PPH. And after the 24 hours, if there is a PPH, we called it secondary PPH. The very common PPH is what? Primary PPH. And the most common cause of primary PPH is atonic PPH, that because of the uterine contraction and the tone of the uterus is not adequate to stop the bleeding. Okay, and the common cause of secondary PPH is retained placental tissues. Now, traditionally, the causes of PPH are told as described as a 4 T's. What are the 4 T's? Tone, trauma, thrombin, and tissue. Again, repeat the same thing for 2 to 3 times so that you can remember this thing. Tone, trauma, thrombin, and tissue. Okay, so the first of all is tone. When we say this, when we say tone, that means the PPH is because of atonic uterus, and that is true for 90% of the cases of all PPH. The second cause is trauma. Trauma means any trauma to the reproductive tract. If we don't control the bleeding, it can be the cause of PPH. For example, cervical, vaginal, perineal lacerations. When we say thrombin, that means that there is a coagulation defect in the patient that can lead to PPH. In case of any liver disease, severe liver disease, kidney disease, all these things, proper coagulation factors are not there. That's why we have this cause as a PPH. And the very important is tissue. Tissue means we have retained products of reproduction inside the uterus even after delivery, that can also cause bleeding. So these are the traditional 4 T's. Now, at the practical aspects, what is very important is the risk factors. Whenever you go for any delivery, whenever you attend any kind of delivery, either cesarean section or normal vaginal delivery, you must know these risk factors before, so that you can be very attentive to the patient, and you know the risk. You can be very quick in the action when there is actual PPH happens. For example, grand multipara, severe anemia, antepartum hemorrhage, that includes abruptio placenta and placenta previa, over distended uterus, that happens in multiple pregnancy, and polyhydramniosis, precipitated labor, prolonged labor, hyperstimulation of the uterus with the injudicial use of oxytocin, retained products, fibroid uterus, instrumental delivery, severe severe preeclampsia, coagulation defects. All these are the high risk for the PPH. You must be very cautious whenever you attend the delivery of such kind of patients with high risk. Okay, now there is a quantification of the pph. uh, one concept is very important here, that is shock index. Shock index means the heart rate divided by systolic bp. Obstetric shock index is normally 0.7 to 0.8. Okay, so when we called a mild pph is when there is a blood loss of 500 to 1000 ml of blood and the shock index is less than 1. We call severe pph is when there is a bleeding or blood loss of more than 2000 ml and the shock index is more than 2. The moderate category is between these two. So this is how we quantify the pph. Now the very important aspect of this video is management of pph. We have general measures that can be done in any case of hypovolumic shock. For example, securing IV lines, IV fluids, oxygen, arranging the blood products, and investigate the patient. We are concerned here is of specific management of pph. The management of pph specific is divided into 3 categories, that is medical management, mechanical management, and surgical management. The order of doing this management is also like that. First of all, we do medical management. If it is not adequate, we do mechanical management, and if it is that also not adequate, we go for surgical management. What is the medical management? We use specific drugs, oxytocic drugs, to get the very uterine contraction and improve the uterine tone. That will do what? Leaving ligature of the blood vessels, open blood vessel sinuses in the uterus. That will do control of the bleeding. The drug of choice even here for pph is oxytocin. What we do it, we put 20 to 30 international units of oxytocin in the 500 ml of NS and we start by 40 to 60 drops per minute. This is how we provide the oxytocin. We also do tablet misoprostol, that is prostaglandin analog, 800 microgram sublingually. These two drugs can be done as a primary treatment. Now, if it is not controlled, then we start thinking of giving carboprost. Carboprost is a very effective drug in controlling the pph, but the side effect is it can cause bronchoconstriction. So after rule outing this risk factor, we can give injection carboprost microgram IM. Remember, we can repeat the dose by 15 minutes and maximum 8 dose we can give. We also rule out other cardiac diseases and hypertension for giving ergometrin also. Ergometrin is the drug also we can repeat. If all these drugs cannot effectively control the bleeding, we can also use tranexamic acid, 1 gram every 8 hourly. Now, if the medical management fails, we go for mechanical management. The basic concept of mechanical management is what? We put something in the uterus that will obstruct the uterine sinuses so that bleeding can be stopped. We use tamponade here, uterine tamponade. We have different options, Buckley balloon, condom catheter we can use for that. What we do in this procedure, we just put this balloon inside the uterus, we just inflate this balloon with normal saline, 300 to 500 ml of warm saline. So it will mechanically obstruct the sinuses and decrease the bleeding. There are also available as military anti-shock garments. They are nothing but a giant beefy cuff and they will just compress the thighs, legs and abdomen, and they will do what? They will just shift the peripheral circulation to the central circulation, and this is how they can help, but not much. Surgical methods are the definitive methods in case of this medical and mechanical management fails. When we think of surgical methods, we should have one thing in our mind: whether the family cycle of the patient is completed or not. If the family cycle is completed, we directly go for cesarean hysterectomy, that is subtotal hysterectomy. That is a definitive management of uncontrolled PPH. If the family cycle is not completed, then we have different other options. These options are not 100% definitive, but still that can effectively prevent PPH where the medical and mechanical management fails. The first one is B-Lynch suture. B-Lynch sutures are sutures taken in the uterus so that the anterior and posterior wall of the uterus can be opposed to each other, so that it can prevent the PPH. They are simple things. Uterine artery embolization via radiology. This is another option. Uterine artery, ovarian artery ligation is also an option like this. We ligate the uterine artery here and ovarian artery here. Now, internal iliac artery ligation is also an option. What we do is we just identify the common iliac artery and we identify the junction. We very specifically identify the internal iliac artery. Okay, and we put a ligature by use of threads on the internal iliac artery 5 cm from the junction. This is also a very good procedure to prevent the PPH. So friends, this was the management of PPH. What actually means for you is you need to be very cautious. First of all, the risk factor should be known to you. Adequate hydration with the use of normal salines, and active management of third stage of labor that actually decreases the PPH before it happens, and it can prevent the PPH. So these all things are very necessary. Thank you.